Welcome back to Couch Collectibles. Hope you guys are having a great day. In today's video, we're looking at the 1960 Lincoln Cent, some different coin prices for these coins that sold for a lot of money, coins that didn't sell for so much money, the difference between those coins. So let's just hop into it. Don't forget, if you guys want to check out couchcollectibles.com, we have some coin collecting supplies on there, so let's just hop right into it. Alright, so 1960, man, I haven't talked about this coin in quite some time. There's a lot of different stuff to look for here on the 1960 Lincoln penny. Now, first off, we want to determine if your coin has a small date or a large date. Well, here is the difference. So we see here on the left side the small date. Now, if you look at the inside of the zero, it's kind of not got that much space in it. But if we look at the zero on the right side of the screen, on the large date, you see that it's much more opened. So, that's one way that I typically always, can determine really quickly if it's a large date versus small date. And really, if you look at the 6, and you see those two lines there, you look at the 6s there side by side, you can really tell a big difference in those 6s. There's much more space on the large date from the top of the 6 to where the 6 curves, as opposed to the small date. It's much smaller gap there. So what all do you want to look for on the 1960D? Well, first, here's an example of a 1960 D mint mark. Now first I want to show you that D mint mark has been repunched. So if we look right above where the D mint mark is, you can see the outline of another D mint mark there. So that is a repunched mint mark. That D mint mark has been repunched. So here's another example of a repunched mint mark that you can look for. So it's a much different, looks much different than, the last repunched mint mark that we looked at. Now here are some other mint marks as well that you can, just always be on the lookout for. You can look for, repunched mint marks on various different types of coins. Always be on the lookout for that. In my ebook that I'm releasing, I will have a list of which ones to actually look for. Now, here is a 1960 large date that is over a small date. So the double die obverse, we got the 1960 large date over the small date. We see that doubling here on the word Liberty as well. Very, very visible doubling there. And then here we have some other images of that as well on the proof penny from 1960. So we see that on the date, and again, the word Liberty. Really awesome type of doubling. So if you ever come across proof sets or anything like that and you see a 1960, get your coin loop, coin microscope, and check it out and see if you can see that any doubling on those coins. Alright, so first is a 1960 D mint mark. So it has that repunched mint mark, it has the double die obverse, the small date over the large date, and it does have a high grade of a mint state 65 red by PCGS. Now this coin here sold for around $375. So, it's not like it's sold for tens of thousands, but still, it's a very, very awesome coin to have in your collection. 375 bucks, I'll take it. But here's a more expensive coin. Now this coin here is graded at a mint state 66 red. It is the 1960D with the large date over the small date, what we just looked at. So this penny here sold for over $4,000. Next up is a 1960D. Now, of course, this is not going to be graded at a red. This would be graded at a brown because of the color of the penny, of course. Now, this coin is graded at an AU50, so much different grade than the mint state 65, mint state 66. But it does have the D over the D, the repunched mint mark, with the small date over the large date. So same thing that we've been looking at, however, just in not as good as condition, much lower grade than the mint state 66. This coin sold for around $65. So you see a big difference in prices, $65 versus $4,000 and $375, big gap there in prices depending on the condition of the coin. Now here is a 1960 large date. There's no errors on this coin, no double dies, nothing like that on this coin. The sole value comes from it having a mint state 67 grade. So that grade will give it a lot of value. This coin sold for around $3,800. That's right, 3,800 bucks. Now if we look at the 1960 large date that is graded at a mint state 64 red, even a mint state grade, not much lower than the last coin that we looked at. Coin only sold for around 13 bucks. So, you know, it's going to be really difficult to get that mint state 67 grade. So 64, 67, big difference in values there. Now here is a 1960 small date, and this is on the proof coin. So if you're not familiar with what a proof coin is, you know, check out my proof coin versus business strike coins. You know, proof coins are not intended for circulation like the typical business strike coins that you see in your everyday pocket change. Now this penny here sold for over $5,000, and of course that is because it has that proof 68 red deep cameo grade. Now for the small date, they have the mintage listed at 588 million. The large date mintage they have listed at 158 million. So a lot less of the large date than the small date. Now on the small date, this 1960 small date is graded at a mint state 67 red. So again, we have that very, very high grade. The coin grading scale goes up to 70 for anyone that's new to coin collecting. So being at a 67 is very, very good. Now this penny here sold for around $3,300, so a $3,000 penny. But here are some other pennies that are also worth some money. So if we start off here first with the S mint mark, you want to look for a repunched mint mark. So get you a USB coin microscope. I have them available on couchcollectibles.com. That way you can see your coins up close. You can see underneath the S, that other S, where it has been repunched. Now here is an example of a 1925S that has that RPM, that repunched mint mark. Now you can see that this coin clearly has been circulated. It is not a high graded coin. However, because of that RPM, the coin did still sell for over $140. Now if this coin was in much better condition, of course it would sell for a lot more money. Now if we look at the 1925S, this one does not have any types of errors. This coin is graded at about uncirculated 53. If you're not familiar with coin grading, the coin grading scale goes up to 70. This coin only sold for around $20. But if we look at a 1925S that has a high grade, this is graded at a mint state 65 red. So that will give it all of its value. That's why the coin is valuable, because of the high grade and graded at red. So this penny here sold for over $18,000. So we go from a wheat penny that sold for $20 to $18,000 because of the grade. Also, don't forget to look for doubling on the front of your coins. Look for doubling on all the lettering and the date, because you never know what you can find with your USB coin microscope. This 1925S double die obverse does not have the highest grade at all. It's graded at an extra fine 40, and this penny sold for over $125. Moving on to a 1925S with a questionable color. Now this penny here sold for a little over $100. If we move on to the 1925D that has been cleaned, now this coin is graded at a mint state 60. Again, it's been cleaned, so that will devalue it. I do not recommend that you clean your coins at all. It will devalue your coins. This coin here sold for a little over $60. Now if we go to a 1925D that has a high grade, a mint state 66 red grade by PCGS, this coin sold for over $74,000. That's right, $74,000. Here's another example of a 1925D that is not mint state grade. It's graded at about uncirculated 53. You can tell that the penny is brown as opposed to that red designation that we looked on the last penny. This penny only sold for around $30. Here's a 1925 wheat penny, the Denver Mint, that has been struck off center, 15% off center. Obviously, you don't need a microscope for anything like this. You can clearly see it in your pocket change or in a coin roll from the bank. Now, this coin here sold for a little over $150. If we move on to the 1925 no mint mark. Now this one is solely valuable again because of its high grade, graded at a mint state 67 red. This penny sold for over $5,000, 5,000 US dollars. Here's pennies that I discussed in one of my recent videos, silver pennies, gold pennies. Be sure to go watch that video. This is a 1925 penny that was actually struck on a silver dime. So we can see that there in the image displayed how it has been struck on a dime planchet. Now this coin here sold for over $1,000. That's right, a $1,000 coin. Alright guys, don't forget to subscribe in the middle. Check out the videos to the left of me. And until tomorrow, you know what to do. I will see you guys in the comment section below. This is Couch Collectibles, and this is where I disappear.